Welcome to our channel. We are sincerely trying to choose interesting stories, so we would really like to see your subscription.
My name is John and Nicole, my wife of 15 years, and I have enjoyed a happy and fulfilling marriage. We share two wonderful daughters, and our lives have been marked by joy and love. Nicole worked as a translator at a film studio, while I served as a security guard at a company. Our financial stability and good health added to the contentment of our lives, residing in a beautiful home in a pleasant neighborhood. After the birth of our second daughter, Nicole faced challenges in losing post-pregnancy weight. Despite this, her captivating blue eyes remained alluring. Nicole chose to wear glasses with large lenses instead of contact lenses, emphasizing the attractiveness of her eyes. I cherished Nicole's presence, and our love for each other grew stronger over time. Our family was a source of happiness, and we never faced financial concerns. However, the harmony of our world was threatened when, after 15 years of marriage, an unpleasant incident unfolded. Nicole had developed a habit of attending parties with her female colleagues, visiting various pubs on Fridays. She assured me that these outings were merely opportunities to chat and relax, which I accepted without concerns. On the nights Nicole spent time with her friends, I took charge of responsibilities at home, cooking dinner for our daughters and assisting with their homework. Nicole typically returned home around 8 o'clock in the evening, allowing us to enjoy weekends together as a family. However, a change occurred as Nicole started coming home later, around 10 o'clock on these nights, with signs of having had a few drinks. Despite my concerns, I hesitated to voice them, trusting in Nicole's affection and devotion. An anonymous email received one Monday morning changed everything. The sender claimed to have seen Nicole at a pub dancing intimately with a man from her company. Attached to the email was a photo capturing the moment. Doubts and unease flooded my mind as I opened the attachment and saw Nicole dancing with a man she had never mentioned before. This revelation left me with a lump in my throat and a sense of discomfort. Despite my inner hesitation, I couldn't resist the urge to open the attachment, leading to the unsettling discovery that Nicole's recent outings might not have been as innocent as I had believed. She embraced me tightly, fixing her gaze on me. Looking at the photo, I noticed her joyful smile, but something caught my attention. In the picture, she stood on the dance floor, closely held by a tall young man. They were entwined, Nicole's arms wrapped around his neck. It surprised me as I couldn't recall ever dancing with Nicole in such an intimate manner or behaving like that with any woman in public. The man's lower body pressed against hers, and I couldn't help but imagine the sensations he must have felt due to the evident attraction. In that position, natural feelings of desire seemed to arise. Strangely, Nicole didn't seem alarmed. Instead, she wore a pleased smile, indicating her active involvement. When our eyes met, I felt repulsed witnessing my wife, the mother of our two daughters, so close to a stranger and openly displaying affection in public. The disbelief I experienced was indescribable. I was certain she would never dance with me in public like that. I couldn't understand why she would allow a complete stranger to act this way with her. A question lingered in my mind. Was he truly a stranger? Doubt crept in, overpowering all my attempts to suppress it. Various scenarios involving my wife and unfamiliar men played out in my mind, and a strong sense of nausea washed over me, leading me to rush to the bathroom where I regretfully vomited my breakfast. Perplexed, I observed Nicole, my beloved wife, behaving in a manner hinting at promiscuity. Was she truly having an affair? How could she betray me and our two daughters like this? Countless questions filled my thoughts, but one kept recurring. Who was this man? I couldn't help but assume he was a colleague of hers. How long had this secret involvement been happening right under my nose? What drove her to engage in such a deceitful relationship with him? Had she betrayed me? I was determined to uncover the truth and gather solid evidence of what had truly occurred. With a renewed sense of purpose, I tried to uncover the latest information about Nicole's actions for the next half hour. I retreated to the bathroom in my room to regain composure and mental clarity. A whirlwind of emotions stirred within me: disappointment, sadness, anger, fueling a growing desire for revenge. Intense feelings provoked conflicting reactions, from wanting to lash out at Nicole to considering forgiveness and giving her another chance. Sitting on the toilet, I questioned my sanity as tumultuous thoughts consumed me. Eventually, I managed to regain control of my emotions, deciding to avoid impulsive actions and patiently monitor Nicole's behavior before taking any definitive steps. It was crucial not to let my emotions dictate my decision, as I needed a clear understanding of the situation before making a choice. I had to remain patient and refrain from confronting her. Upon discovering what I did, I was determined to uncover the truth at any cost. I needed concrete evidence to understand if Nicole was faithful or merely enjoying herself excessively. The fact that she hadn't been completely truthful about her outings with friends troubled me. Noticing her workplace conveniently located a few blocks from mine due to my frequent business trips, I decided to discreetly keep an eye on her. Around 11:30 a.m. the next day, I parked my car inconspicuously at the far end of her workplace's parking lot, confident that the tinted windows kept me hidden. Patiently waiting until 1 p.m., Nicole didn't appear. This routine continued throughout the week, but on Friday at 12:15 p.m., I spotted Nicole with two men and a woman getting into a black BMW. I followed them discreetly, and we arrived at the parking lot of an upscale restaurant. From my spot across the street, I observed Nicole's cheerful interactions with the group, particularly with a tall man with blonde hair, the same man from a photo where they danced together. Although Nicole hadn't committed any serious wrongdoing, the socializing during lunch with two couples, seemingly unrelated, concerned me deeply. On that Friday, Nicole didn't join her female colleagues for their post-work gathering, returning home at 5:15 p.m., cheerful and seemingly unaffected. Suppressing my anger, I refrained from bombarding her with questions. Later that evening, as we sat in front of the TV, I couldn't resist asking about her day at work and lunch. Though confused for a moment, she claimed to have had a tuna sandwich she prepared that morning. Despite my growing anger, the deep love for her made it challenging to act impulsively. I knew I had to maintain composure and self-control. Rather than confronting her, I changed the subject, discussing my own workday during our weekend together. Nicole didn't seem to sense the gravity of the situation, and we exchanged affectionate words, behaving like a loving couple during our family trip to the zoo. For a while, the events of the past week faded into the background as we created cherished family memories. Throughout the week, our days were filled with laughter and joy. I intentionally refrained from keeping tabs on Nicole's lunchtime whereabouts. However, on Friday evening, after my daughters returned home at 3:15, I was ready to track her down. I ensured their happiness by ordering pizza for them and explained that I had some business at the office. Calmly leaving them alone in the house with the doors locked, I knew they would be sound asleep by the time I returned. Without hesitation, I got into the car and headed to Nicole's workplace, arriving at 5 o'clock. From a distance, I observed her driving out of the parking lot, heading away from our house, indicating her intention to meet friends at the pub for an evening party. Unnoticed, I followed her car, blending in with a line of 6 other vehicles. 10 minutes later, I spotted Nicole's car and others entering the parking lot adjacent to an establishment known as the Glass Shoe, a combination of a bar and a restaurant. Choosing to remain discreet, I parked the car at the far end of the lot and observed the surroundings. After everyone entered the establishment, I strolled around the vicinity to gather information about the place my wife frequented. The pub stood at a distance from other buildings, surrounded by a parking lot. Two walls faced the street, and a neatly trimmed cedar fence marked the other two sides, providing privacy. I noticed a black BMW from the group, the same one Nicole used the previous Friday, now prominently parked in front of the cedar hedge. Examining the building, I discovered two entrances, one leading to the restaurant and another to a bar at the back. Returning to the car, I changed into a black windbreaker, donned a baseball cap, and wore glasses to alter my appearance. I inserted a protective prosthesis into my mouth to modify my facial features, ensuring I remained unrecognizable. After patiently waiting in the car for an hour, I entered the bar. Spotting a group, including my wife, near the dance floor, I chose a table in the far corner to observe without being noticed. The dimly lit spot was occupied by individuals nursing their sorrows, making it easy for me to blend in. Nicole eventually danced with a man seated next to her, sparking suspicions of something more than mere acquaintance. As the night unfolded, their group dwindled, leaving no doubt to onlookers that Nicole and the man were lovers. Placing his hands on her waist, they swayed on the dance floor with subtle movements, bodies pressed closely together. In that moment, I saw him lean down to kiss her, whispering something in her ear. She nodded in response, and without hesitation, they left the room hand in hand. Intrigued, I discreetly followed them into the dark street. Observing them walk hand in hand to his car, I kept my distance. They entered the back seat, and it became clear why he had parked the car in the last row near the cedar hedge. Seeking privacy and the absence of prying eyes, the hedge acted as a shield, providing them with a sense of security. My curiosity led me to contemplate their intentions and how far Nicole was willing to go. Determined to uncover the truth, I cautiously headed to the opposite end of the parking lot. Stealthily moving between parked cars, I positioned myself near the back of his black car. Initially noticing an absence of people inside, I thought they might be in the back seat, near the hedge in the dim light. I was confident they wouldn't spot me from inside the car. Cautiously moving closer, I leaned towards one of the rear windows. Unfortunately, the heavily tinted windows made it impossible to see anything. Despite poor visibility, I could still hear muffled voices from inside the car. I wrestled with the decision of whether to intervene immediately or wait to catch Nicole in the act of betrayal. The choice tormented me, but fate intervened. The car started rocking in rhythm with the music, which happened to be my wife's favorite. Overwhelmed with anger, I yanked the door handle, flooding the car with light from the roof lantern. To my horror, I discovered Nicole lying on her back with her lover on top of her, engaged in illicit activities. I removed my glasses and the denture that concealed my true identity. As the car's interior lit up, Nicole's eyes widened in shock and recognition. After closing the door firmly behind me, I swiftly headed to my car, leaving Nicole urgently pleading for me to wait. Less than 5 minutes later, she arrived home in a disheveled state, tears filling her eyes. She apologized profusely, expressing remorse and pleading for forgiveness. I sternly told her to stop apologizing and confronted her about the betrayal, demanding to know the identity of the man and how long it had been going on. Relieved that she was no longer standing in front of me, I expressed anger and shook her, demanding the truth. She confessed that his name was Nick, a colleague from the studio, and insisted that the affair had only recently happened. However, a terrible thought crossed my mind about her deception over the years. In a panic, she exclaimed that it had only recently occurred, begging for understanding and forgiveness. I was resolute in my decision and expressed disappointment, declaring that I wanted a divorce. Our joyful life and our comfortable residence in a delightful neighborhood symbolized contentment. Financial stability was not an issue, and most importantly, our love was undeniable. Unexpectedly, life took a turn when our younger daughter turned 6, and Nicole secured a job at a nearby film studio as a translator due to her proficiency in multiple foreign languages. For 5 years, her impressive skills provided us with financial stability. Everything changed when a tall, charismatic, blonde-haired colleague joined the studio. becoming the center of attention. Despite the admiration he received, he seemed oblivious to it. Sharing Nicole's proficiency in various foreign languages, their frequent encounters at work led to a deepening friendship. Love crept into Nicole's emotions before she fully comprehended it, leaving her confused. She realized she had fallen for him, and their professional rapport gradually evolved into a deep friendship. Nicole never discussed this with me, and soon he became a regular presence at gatherings and dinners among their colleagues. Their connection deepened, culminating in a passionate encounter on the dance floor and a secret affair that continued for 4 months. One Friday, during an outing, he took Nicole away from the pub, leading to a passionate encounter in his car. Overwhelmed by guilt, Nicole returned home determined to give me the love and affection I deserved. However, their daily interactions at work made it challenging for her to distance herself from him, as they had grown too comfortable in each other's presence. Nicole's love for me remained steadfast, but she was mistaken in believing that her connection with him surpassed our bond. The affair continued for 4 months until Nicole found herself in a hospital bed, revealing all the details of her betrayal. I listened, shedding tears without interruption. Nicole never intended to hurt me, but she was gravely mistaken in thinking her connection with him surpassed our bond. I made a solemn vow to do whatever was necessary to salvage our marriage. However, I grappled with the internal dilemma of whether I could bear the memories of her infidelity. Despite this, I couldn't bring myself to confess to her. Considering her fragile emotional and physical state, I didn't want to cause her additional pain. Returning to my hotel room, I reached out to my lawyer, instructing him to prepare the required divorce documents. My primary concern was how the divorce would impact Nicole's condition. I was deeply worried about her well-being and wished to shield her from unnecessary suffering. While the divorce papers were being prepared, I dedicated quality time to my beloved daughters. Although my initial plan was not to pursue custody, opting for a joint upbringing with Nicole but not under the same roof, my plans took an unexpected turn. My lawyer delivered the divorce papers to Nicole, who was still hospitalized. Learning of the divorce exacerbated her emotional state, and that fateful day marked a significant turn for the worse. Nicole suffered a stroke upon realizing that I had initiated divorce proceedings. When her doctor informed me of this, self-loathing consumed me. I blamed myself for not waiting until Nicole had fully recovered before proceeding with the divorce. For 3 days, I stood by her side, holding her hand as Nicole's condition continued to deteriorate. Even after 2 months, her improvement was only partial, leaving her paralyzed on her left side. It was a heart-wrenching situation for all of us. Despite my self-blame, I acknowledged that if Nicole hadn't engaged in a secret affair with her colleague, none of this would have occurred. No matter how hard I tried to convince myself to stay in the same house with Nicole and our daughters, I found it impossible. Every time I looked at her, the memory of that scene of betrayal in the car haunted me. Consequently, I packed my belongings and relocated to a nearby rented apartment, intending to stay close to my beautiful daughters. As much as I resisted, it was Nicole herself who had transformed our once happy life into chaos and suffering.